Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another polymer clay video at keepsakecrafts.net. Today is part 2 in a two-part series on how to make this Autumn Silhouettes candle holder. In part 1, I showed you how to make the tree and the owl, and today we're going to make the cat and bats and the pumpkin. If you missed part 1, there's a link in the description box as well as in the upper right. Next is the pumpkin, and you can make just one, or you can make several. If you make several, probably make them a little smaller. Ball of clay, if you want to make it oval, or make it tall, whatever works for you. And I'm going to take another one of these cutters that's in this set of 4. It's these, by the way. There's these little tiny Kemper cutters. There's a heart, a flower, a circle, and a teardrop. And the heart I'm just going to use at the top. Just press the pointed part in and then kind of smooth that out, and that helps give you a pumpkin shape. And then take your needle tool and draw the lines. And I'm just kind of going back in from the edges, mostly so that will show in silhouette, so it looks like a pumpkin. To make our triangle eye and mouth cutouts, I didn't have a triangle cutter, but I do have this heart. So I'm going to use the heart, and again, make sure you're pressing all the way down to the tile. So I'll cut out my 2 eyes, and then flip it around and cut out the nose. And then I've got this kind of flat paddle, and I'm just going to go in and sharpen the points. Flatten out the bump from the lobes of the heart so it looks like a triangle and not a heart. And then just kind of sharpen those corners. And then a craft blade for cutting out his mouth. And again, make sure you cut all the way down to the tile. That will help you lift out a clean piece. And this was one of the things that made me make this pumpkin, probably also a dozen times, like the owl, was trying to get this mouth out neatly without distorting. It probably would have been better if I had let the clay sit for a while before trying to cut out these pieces. So I'll show you on this one, the one I finally got done and that I was happy with. There's his mouth. And I just cut 2 little pieces from the scrap and added them back in as teeth. It was easier than trying to cut a piece that shape. But then you can just add a little piece for a stem if you like. And then the pumpkin I just placed at the base of the roots on the side opposite from the owl. The kitty cat I wanted to sit up higher than the rest, again so that you had a different look as you looked through it, so that you had things at different levels. And so all I did was I rolled a whole bunch of just irregular black clay balls and stuck them on there to make a little mound of rocks for the cat to sit on. For his body, I rolled a teardrop. For his head, go ahead and roll kind of a football shape, and you can pinch it and shape it to suit. And I'm going to do the head separately until I'm happy with it, because if I'm not happy with it, I'll roll it in a ball and start again. And I'm going to take a perfect cat eye shape, this little teardrop, and cut out his eyes just like we did with the owl and the pumpkin. Save those pieces because you can just flatten those and they're just right for his ears. And if they get misshapen, just go ahead and roll a ball, roll a little point on it, flatten it out. Either way, here's his ears. So that's pretty cute. So we'll add him. And just to give him a little face, roll a little ball. That's going to be his mouth. Place that just a little under his nose, between his eyes. And then roll 2 other balls and place those right under where his nose would be for his cheeks. And if you want, you can take your needle tool, kind of poke in there to give him a little, you can see this one, I was able to take a little bit more care with it. Just give him a little face. It's kind of cute. And then finally I rolled some really tiny, and you want to do this once the cat is on the glass so that you don't have to handle them once you get them on. And I just did that with my nail. Give him some little whiskers, and you can see how they show up in silhouette, just those whiskers. And then of course he needs a tail, and that's simple enough. Just roll out a snake. You can shape it however you like. To give our kitty a tail. And again, there's the one I already made. He's kind of cute. And then finally, we have our bats. And they're super easy to make. Take your sheet of clay rolled out to around the thickest, maybe a little less than the thickest setting of the pasta machine. And this is just a marquee shape from a cutter set, and I'll have a link to that in the description box. For the large bat, you want 2. For the small bat, you want 2. And if you're going to make a small bat, all you need to do is come in and cut off some of that to make the wings. And then I have here some Kemper cutters that I'm going to use to cut little bites out to make his wings. So simple. There's a couple of bat wings. For the smaller ones, you can use this, where'd it go? This small round cutter might work better. And then maybe this one for the third one. Yeah. I'll have links to all these cutters. They really are useful. You think, well, how many times do I need to cut around? And maybe not so much, but you can see how useful they are for cutting shapes out of things. Sorry about that, my camera cut out on me. But as you can see, I've added the bat wings to my candle holder. And then for their bodies, just rolled a little oval and added that between the wings. And then there are 2 different ways that you can do their ears. You can just make little tiny ovals like this, or you can take a little piece of clay and just roll it so that you have points on the ends, and then use your clay blade to pick that up and then just add those like I did to this one to give him little pointy ears. The cool thing about the bats is that once the clay is baked, you can see they peel up right off the glass, and then you can move them. So when I put mine up here, it really wasn't exactly where I wanted them, but I didn't want to wreck something else, so I put them way up here, and now they're done. And when you're all done with your sculpting, you can go ahead and bake your clay as the manufacturer recommends. I baked mine for 45 minutes to make sure these thickest parts were nice and baked. And then what you want to do is take any thin pieces. They're going to, if you just gently maneuver them, they're going to come right up off the glass. And what you want to do is first perhaps clean any fingerprints and smudges from underneath. And then once that's clean and dry, you can just add a few tiny drops of super glue and glue those pieces back in. So anything like the cat's tail, especially the thin bits, you just want to peel up a little bit and super glue. And like this, because this whole thing is on a skinny branch, I peeled up the whole owl, and I will super glue the whole thing back down. That way when people are handling it or it's being cleaned, it's not going to come apart. And for a final little touch, when you're done sculpting and you're done with your needle tool, go ahead and roll a really thin snake of your clay, coil it around your needle tool, and then go ahead and bake that along with the rest of it. And then you can break that into a couple of pieces and glue that right with the pumpkin, and that looks really nice in silhouette too, to have those curly bits. So if you're interested in the supplies I used, there's a link in the upper right and in the description box to go to my blog post. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my Patreon page to help support these videos. Here's another look at the project we made. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Happy creating. Bye-bye.